What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another stream here on Ranger Central. And we have breaking news. As I'm a little bit late to this, I apologize because for whatever reason, I don't know what it is, but for whatever reason, the second that I leave my house, and especially when it's to go to the gym, like I'm just trying to get a good back pump in today, and then all of a sudden the trades happen. It's just every single time it's like clockwork. I go, Justin Verlander gets traded from the Mets. The Yanni Gord trade happens yesterday. It's like clockwork that every single time that happens, a trade breaks, and that was no exception today as the New York Rangers have traded Reilly Smith to the Vegas Golden Knights, which I predicted that he would go back to the Golden Knights. And I think a lot of you guys in the chat as well agreed with me that it was the most likely destination for him to go back there. And the New York Rangers, in exchange, acquire a third round pick, which is a San Jose third round pick, which means it probably will be higher in the third round, which is good news there. And then they acquire Brendan Brisson. Sorry, almost said his name wrong there. But right off the rip, my thoughts on the trade is I said it for weeks that they were more likely than not going to lose the trade by default just because of the fact that they gave up more than what they're getting for him at the trade deadline here, which still is beyond infuriating because of the fact that teams are more desperate this time of year and there was an entire free agent board for the Rangers to utilize on July 1st. So by default, they were going to lose this trade unless they got better value than they gave up. But I still think all things considered, they got a fine return. Like, I'm not to the moon about it. It's kind of just whatever. You get a third round pick. And honestly, with Brisson, I think the biggest positive with them is the fact that his dad is Jack Eichel's agent. So if they're playing chess and not checkers here, then sure, that's that works out very well if that's the case. But is it? Probably not, but I'm just saying, just because people are joking about that on Twitter right now. In terms of the guy that they got in Brisson, there's really not a whole lot to love, just considering the fact that he is a former first round pick. And when you have to use the words former first round pick, that usually does not mean anything great. He is a pending RFA after this year as his ELC is coming to an end. And in his ELC, or during the time of it, I should say, there's really not a whole lot to highlight. There's upside here in a 23-year-old, but at the end of the day, the only question that I have with this move, as he does have 8 career points in 24 career games, which again, nothing really to highlight, doesn't average a lot of time on ice, which could be something where if you give him the time on ice, maybe he'll thrive. But the problem with that is, where is he getting the time on ice? And that's where I do question why they went this route instead of getting draft picks, because the Rangers, in my opinion, are in a spot right now where they should have been acquiring draft picks to utilize as ammo either this offseason, to utilize at next year's trade deadline, or to bolster the farm, versus getting a prospect where I don't know how, if you even want to call him a prospect at this juncture, but you're getting a guy where I don't know how much upside there is. Where is he going to fit in the lineup? And if you're going to flip him in a trade, does he have value? I guess, it remains to be seen there. But I would have preferred personally a package of picks if it were up to me, but it's not up to me at the end of the day. I would have preferred them just getting a second round pick and maybe a late round pick, pretty much what they gave up to get Reilly Smith in the first place. But if Brisson ends up being anything, then great. I'd be more than happy to be wrong about him being a good hockey player. But I just don't know really where he's going to fit in the lineup, which is my biggest problem with this all, because they're not playing Arthur Kaliev, who is in that similar spot where a guy that was drafted in the first round and a guy that was struggling and not getting the playing time. And it was like, okay, or sorry, not the first round for Kaliev, early second round, if we want to be technical there. But Kaliev has not got any ice time at all since being acquired. And I view Brisson in the same light where, okay, this is the same scenario where late first round pick / early second, again, being technical there. But you're getting a guy that, is he going to get ice time here when this team, again, I envision them trying to rebound next year. So I'm a little confused what they're doing in terms of getting him. So again, I'm not sure at all. Unless they're moving a guy like Johnny Brodzinski out, then at least it makes some sense because he could slot in on that third line next to Othman and Parsonen. And then all of a sudden, okay, you got a young third line and you see what you got with all of these guys, see if there's upside there. But again, if it's not that, where is he playing? Because no one's getting removed from this top six right now. The third line, I think you want to keep all these guys in the lineup. And then the fourth line, they're going to keep Carrick in. Berard, I'd hope they're not going to send down. And then Rempe, they love to play. So my question is, where does he fit in the lineup? That's really my biggest question there. But either way, yeah, they get a third round pick. That's really the highlight of the trade. Again, unless getting Brisson's son, or Brendan Brisson, the son of the agent, which again, Jack Eichel's agent. Unless they're playing chess, not checkers here, I don't see where the benefit is to adding him, but we will see. We'll see. And then on top of that, there was also a report a couple of minutes ago, I believe, I'm not quite sure, that the Rangers are interested in Pavel Zacha, which would be a very interesting ad if they wanted to go that direction there, because that would be a guy where I would be really happy if they acquired him, depending on the return, because I think he's someone that could fit on that third line really well and, really add something that this team really has been missing since they got rid of Filipino. So that's a name that does interest me. I prefer McLeod if it's, between those guys, but I wouldn't hate the addition of Zacha. I'd imagine that they're talking Chris Kreider in that sort of deal, which if that's the case, I mean, I'm doing that every day of the week, twice on Sundays, because you're getting a guy that could play on the third line, a guy that could kill penalties, and again, adds a little bit of a unique dynamic to the third line compared to what they have now. So if that happened, I would be very pumped about that one, but we'll see, where that goes. But let me know in the chat what you guys think about this trade. Leave a like on your way in, subscribe, turn on your notifications, and then, by the way, be sure to give a 5-star rating and review if you're listening to the audio version. I would appreciate all of that. Let me know, though, your thoughts on the trade. Like I said in the chat, I'm just going to take a sip of water while the comments start to come in. Sorry, guys. Just completely gassed right now from the gym. But see, you guys are saying in the chat right now. Reilly Smith for who? A former first round pick. Pretty much. That's the way to phrase it there. In chest and back. Go off, man. Have a good workout. Have a good workout. My chest is still freaking cooked from yesterday. I like the trade. Getting Brisson was a good pickup. We'll see. Again, it really depends where they're going to fit him into the lineup, which is where I have my biggest question of, again, where does he fit? That's where I'm a little confused about this. Pretty mid, could have gotten a first. I don't know if a first was really an option. I still feel maybe they could have got a second round pick that has conditions that could get a first round pick, where like if Vegas won the Stanley Cup, then it upgrades to a first round pick. But I don't know realistically if they could have got that, to be honest with you. And yeah, that's another thing I forgot to mention, that the Rangers did retain 50%, which I don't have an issue with that at all. I mean, it's it's 1 year on that deal. It is what it is. They have the cap space, weaponize it. I don't hate that. Troy claimed Kaliev and he's barely gotten ice time here. So where is Brisson going to get ice time? I would have rather gotten another pick. Yeah, I agree with you, Matt. I think that getting another pick here was the way in all of this. I don't see where he fits into the lineup at all, because the forward group right now, I mean, you have a logjam of a lot of similar players right now, where you have your top six, which consist of your regulars and guys that are, I shouldn't label it as regulars, but you have like more of your veterans, and then obviously Will Cooley in addition to that. But you have your set top six, and then you have the experiment of a bottom six minus Sam Carrick, who I think is the only, sure bet there. I'm sure if you want to count Brodzinski in that regard, but you have Parsonen, Offman, Berard, Rempe, where these are just younger guys that you're experimenting with, but it's just so weird the way this forward group is constructed right now to where again, I don't know where he gets the ice time at all because I personally too would rather give a lot more like is Othman going back down to Hartford because I would rather give Othman right now the ice time to see what he could provide. I'd rather give Parsonen the ice time to see what he could provide. I don't know. It's just a little head scratching in that regard. But I do agree with this that the only positive I could take away is that they're clearly going in a direction where they want to get younger to open up the window, which if that's the case, I'm in favor of that. I've been screaming for months now. You guys in the chat too have been in agreement with me that they should go in a direction where they get some younger players and to really open up the window a little bit more. But we'll see. But I agree with you guys that they should trade Chris Kreider, especially after hearing today those reports that he's still sulking about Ramsey and he's still sulking about um the Truba and Goudreau moves as well. Really? Really, man? I didn't say it was a bad trade, but the Rangers technically lose the trade because again, they got less than they gave up to get Reilly Smith. I'm not saying it's a bad trade. I just think that there was really no winning a Reilly Smith trade here today just because of where they were in terms of again what they gave up to get him. It's fine considering Reilly Smith wasn't playing for them, but I'm just curious where Brisson's going to fit in the lineup and I'm just curious or I'm just a little disappointed still that, again, this isn't revisionist history here. Like during the offseason, I felt that they should have went in the direction of just signing a free agent to a 1-year deal versus making a trade to get Reilly Smith. It was just always bizarre to me. How long could they contend? 2, 3 years? 4 at most, probably. Probably 4 at most because when you look at the roster right now, JT Miller, obviously who they acquired, turning 32 in a couple of days, actually. I believe this week, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry, a week from tomorrow. He's turning 32. Mika Zibanejad's already 31 if he's not being moved. Panarin will see. Kreider, obviously, up there in age. The way, though, that they extend opening the window, if they are going to do that at all, is what I've been saying for the past few days, where they need to play the patient game and try to target an Eichel or McDavid. If again, if, if either of those guys hit the market, big if, but if they do, then that's how you extend the window further. But if not, with the direction that it looks like they're going in, 4 years at most. But it also depends how they follow up things like, again, moving Kreider, if they move Panarin this offseason, if they move Zibanejad. It depends how they follow all of that up. I have a feeling Donato maybe staying in Chicago, but 40% he's staying, 60% he's getting traded. Chicago should move him because they could get a very good return for a guy who's having a career year right now. The core is on the wrong side 30 and where all their money's allocated to, I think 3 years tops. That's where again, it really depends how they tinker the roster because if the roster staying similar to what they are right now, then yeah, I mean 3 years tops, but it depends if they're moving Panarin, if they're moving Zibanejad, if they're moving Kreider, and again, what they get in those returns if they were to do that. But I agree if they stick this course where Panarin stays, Zibanejad stays, Kreider stays, he's going to Hartford and will play top line minutes. All right, well, we'll see what he provides then. Which I do wonder if that means that Hartford might move one of their forwards because I was saying in a group chat yesterday that I'm in that Hartford should move some of the guys from Hartford just to get whatever they could for them that might walk like Reilly Nash and um Alex Belzile just to get something over nothing for those guys. So that would make sense because he does have 19 points in 45 games right now in the AHL, dash 24. Yikes. So it is going to be interesting though now where the Rangers go the rest of the way leading into the trade deadline, just because of the fact now that again they traded their top guy that is a rental because outside of Riley Smith, you were really looking at guys like DeHaan who maybe they flip, Ruedel, maybe they trade Quicks, the other pending UFA, which I wonder about, and then Ryan Lindgren was already moved. So if Kreider's not being moved, I mean the deadline's going to be pretty boring tomorrow for the Rangers side of things, unless they do get aggressive. And again, if there's serious interest in Zacha and the Rangers do get aggressive to make that move, I'm very interested. That would be a very interesting move tomorrow. Which I'm very confused why Boston though would make that trade because again, I would assume personally, and maybe I'm wrong, but I would assume that Kreider would go the other way in a Zacha deal. So I'm curious why Boston would do that and, hurt their center depth that already is weak. Yeah, 24 hours left until the deadline or 20 in 3 minutes. I also think too because Pavel Zacha right now I believe has been getting second line minutes. I think he would thrive way more as a third line center. So and I mean this is fair. Yeah, I can't argue with this. Sweeney's not a good GM. That's very true. Razik has opened this thing in Chicago. Spoke to Kyle Davidson. Yeah. Um, I think Chicago should move him though. I mean, carrying three goalies right now is, as we saw when the Rangers had Igor, Georgiev, and Hank. The three goalie thing only works for like a month. I heard anything on Dallas and Vancouver? Not that I know of. No. Yeah, same with me, Dave. Same with me on that one. We got a forward in Brisson. Brisson. He's a forward. Which is very interesting too, because it is a good point just asking if he's a defenseman, because it's like the Rangers should try to get some like defensemen. Like they've already again, it's getting a little redundant now with these project forwards. It would be nice if they wanted to do it with a defenseman because look at how it worked out for Florida when they did a project defenseman in Gustav Forsling. And I'm not saying the Rangers are going to find the next Forsling, but I'm just saying, for an example, that you should try to, experiment with some defensemen. No, yeah, that's very fair that you asked because of that. Yeah. And I agree with you. Like, now that you brought that up, that it would make more sense for it to have been a defenseman. Yep, 24 hours to go officially now until the trade deadline. So we'll see what happens in these next 24 hours. I'm very intrigued here. I would like most of the trades to hold out for tomorrow from a content standpoint because I want to. I'll plug that right now while I'm discussing it tomorrow. Trade deadline stream. Just a reminder that I will be running my stream from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. The first stream, and then I'm gonna refire up a stream as I'll be going live with Big Apple Hockey. But again, StreamYard unfortunately is the way that it is, so I'm gonna have to end the live stream and then restart it back up tomorrow in the I'll have to restart tomorrow in the afternoon at 12. So the first part of the live stream, it will just be Matt and I from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. And then I'm going to join on with Big Apple Hockey. Matt will join on with Big Apple Hockey as well. And we will be going for a very long time on that live stream. How long? I don't know. But we will be going probably until like 4 p.m., 5 p.m. if I had to guess, just because usually, you know, trade deadlines at 3. And then typically the trades flood in an hour to 2 hours after. So just want to plug that one more time for everyone. And yeah, I mean, this comment too. Now's the time to move Panarin and Kreider. I think Panarin's still an off-season move if it happens, but um, Kreider I think could happen tomorrow. And I agree that they need to get young defensemen. Sorry, I got distracted because of what Matt sent in my group chat. That apparently, you could cross off LA as a team for Rantanen that he'd sign an extension with. So he's going to Florida. He's going to Florida. I'm probably going to be live here though right now for a good amount of time, just because of the fact that one, don't have much else to do. Two, in case any trades break here. So maybe I'll be live for a bit here. I'm also going to get Matt on the stream here, just so I don't have to do all the talking here. Third line center is needed, yes, which is why Zacha would be a very solid add. Do I think the Devils will fall out of the playoffs? I'm not sure. I mean, I feel like they probably will, but I'm not 100% sure. Because they're buying too, which is very weird. Orlov not in the Canes lineup due to trade reasons, really? That would be very interesting if Orlov got moved. Are you fucking around with me? No. Small trade here. Capo Kakinen for Chris Drieger. All right. Decent trade there, I guess, for both sides. A third goalie trade. The Orlov news is a fake Pierre LeBrun. All right, I had a feeling. I was gonna say, there's no way Orlov's getting moved. I just would not be able to envision Carolina doing that. I don't know if it's a pipe dream at this point. I feel like he's gonna be a Panther. I really feel like the Panthers are gonna go all in and get Renton. I don't know if they'd have to give up Verhage necessarily. What would they have to give up? I mean, maybe they would. Let's take a look. I mean, if it takes Verhage though, and it means that he's signing an extension, Rantanen that is, then I'm sorry, you got to do that. You got to do that if you're the Panthers. Maybe it would take Verhage. Maybe you're on to something there because unless they move Sam Bennett could be the guy that goes the other way. I'm not quite sure though. I'm really not sure at all. What's going on, Matt?
Not much. Another day, another lost jury trade. Pretty much,
A day that ends in Y.
pretty much a day that ends in Y.
What do you think though? Just because a Panthers fan's in the chat here and he's talking about Mikko Rantanen potentially. What do you think the Panthers would have to give up? Because I'm trying to figure that out. He thinks for Hagee. I think he's on to something with that, or I think Bennett maybe could go the other way because Carolina does need help down the middle, and if they are able to extend Bennett, that might be a good little move there for both teams.
Yeah, let me pull up both lineups and then contracts because I want to see.
When are we trading Offman, Berard, and Perot from Marchand? Yeah, and then Marchand leaves. That would be a vintage Rangers move there
Drury Masterclass.
to buy on like a guy like Brad Marchand when they're just not in a win now mode.
Carolina. There we go. There we go.
Yeah, I saw this though. That the Leafs placed
Yeah,
Reeves on waivers. Who would have thought that contract was stupid? Who would have thought?
Brad Masterclass.
Yeah, that was a disaster of a contract, but it does open up cap space for them, I guess. It wouldn't surprise me if some shit team claimed Reeves. It just really wouldn't.
He's coming back. He's coming back.
Don't even joke about that.
Who's gonna? Well, somebody's got to do Shesty release us. It's been a couple years. Got to bring that back.
Don't even joke about that.
uh, See, this is tough because, I mean, look at Florida's wingers right now. If you were to put Kachuk back in the lineup because right now on daily faceoff he's out because he got put on LTI right now. Your wingers right now are Verhage, Kachuk, Reinhart, Rodriguez, and then Barkov and Bennett down the middle. I don't know if I don't. I mean, I like Verhage better as a player, but I think maybe fit wise, it'd be better to trade him over Bennett because I really don't want to lose that center depth down the middle. And at least with Rantanen, he'll come in and Verhage's a goal scoring winger. I mean, like we've seen over the past two runs that Florida's made to the finals in 23, and then when they won the cup last year, Verhage scored a couple big time goals in each playoff run. So yeah, it's tough, but I'd say probably they trade out Verhage because again, I don't think you want to lose that center depth down the middle by trading away Sam Bennett, and then again, you're getting in Rantanen, who's a winger, so you're not replacing Bennett at all. So probably Verhage would be the one to go for me.
Then Carolina might just be more interested in he might be more might be more interested though in they might be more interested in Verhage just because he's already locked up on a contract where Bennett they'd have to try to extend. I don't see this though at all. I don't Florida would not move Lindell.
No.
I don't see Florida moving Lindell. He's on such a friendly deal and is playing at such a great level. Like he is a perfect third line center for that team and maybe second line center soon. I think Verhage would make sense. You're actually on to something there. Yeah, this is who I was talking about, the Panthers fan here. I only give up Verhage if Moose signs an extension. Seeing Carter in a Kane uniform would make me sick. Yeah, I think that either way, I think the only way the Panthers actually make the trade for Rantanen is if they sign him to an extension. I think
Yeah.
that's the only way.
I mean, and just looking at Carolina right now, I mean, I think ideally Carolina would rather have center wise. I think they would rather have Bennett just because I mean their center course. Aho and Stahl's fine, but Stahl getting up there in age. Cook and Niemi, nice as your 3C, not great. And then Tyson Yost as your 4C. Like that center core is aside from Aho and Stahl, it's not great. But then
Stahl, even though as a 2C right now, like you'd
I
feel a
know,
lot better as a 3C.
yeah. But then the thing also, like you mentioned, contract wise, because right now Verhage, he's when that extension kicks in, he's gonna make $7 million. I don't know what I mean. I know the cap's going up, but I don't know what Bennett's gonna get on the open market next year. And that's one of those guys where I like Bennett, but he could be one of those guys where a team severely overpays for him. And I'm not really sure if I want to, give Sam Bennett $8 million. Like to me, I think maybe Verhage would just make a little bit more sense in terms of value and then cost of contract wise on the cap.
Yeah, that's fair. But I mean, either way, with Carolina right now, they just that Ranton trade. I thought that was just such a great deal for them. Sure, Vegas would want Rantanen, but I don't know where Rantanen. I have no clue where Rantanen wants to be. Clearly, he has a place in mind though that he wants to be.
Yeah, I think he's gonna go to Florida. I just plus finish. They'll probably slot him on the wing next to Barkov. I think it makes too much sense. I think he's gonna go to Florida.
I agree. Carolina's so dumb for not overpaying to keep Gensel around. That
Yeah.
was a huge fuck up because he fit there so perfectly.
Well, I guess they just really didn't like his broken finger. It's too much of a risk.
Yeah, very concerning stuff there.
Very concerning.
That line though would fuck Rantanen, Barkov, Reinhardt. That line would be
And
ridiculous.
then Kachuk, Bennett, Rodriguez as your second line.
Yeah, and if they really wanted to mess around, like they could just put Reinhardt on that second line and flip, you know, with
Yeah,
Rodriguez, or Rantanen could be on that second line and then Rodriguez on the top line, or Kachuk. Like,
I'm telling you, if they get Ranton in there, they're my pick. I think they're gonna go back to back. I just
yeah,
they're just too strong. I mean, I get Winnipeg's good, but Florida's got the experience. They know what it takes to win. They improve their decor again. I just they find ways to improve. You got to give major credit to Bill Zito because he's willing to go out and make those aggressive moves.
yeah, must be nice.
It must be nice.
You said that Winnipeg though then is your pick in the West right now.
I mean, they're right now the best team in the West for me, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to get out of the West. I mean, I don't know. Dallas is good. Vegas. I mean, Edmonton. You still can't count out. I like how LA plays.
LA's got to do something
Yeah,
good
they gotta do
tomorrow.
something though. I've been saying it for years now. Like I like how LA plays. I like their decor. I like their forward core, but they'll never win unless they get another big time goal scorer in that forward core. And I've said that for the last couple of years.
We're really gonna get Edmonton and LA again in round one.
Whether that be 22, 23, 24, 4 straight
4 years,
years
yeah,
of that first
4 years
round
now.
matchup. I guess fourth time's a charm for LA then.
Yeah, I agree with this. These would be my top four teams in the West too. I just am not a believer in Winnipeg because of the fact that like every year they did this last year too. They're a high PDO team and they were at the top of the standings, and then we saw how it worked out for them.
Well, I think they gotta get another 2 oh, they gotta get a 2C. I think for them, like, if they're a team that would go out and acquire Brock Nelson, I think that's improves them by a lot because, like, Vlad Nemestikov, like, okay, he's a decent player, but Vlad Nemestikov is not winning you a Stanley Cup as a 2C. He's as a 3C, cool. But they really need another, like, goal scorer, play driver on their 2C. I think Brock Nelson would be a really good fit, but again, is Luga to trade him? That's the thing.
He's stupid if he doesn't. I mean, we've agree on that, but we know how Lou is.
Yeah.
I think they need a defenseman too, though, badly. I think if they could get an upgrade somewhere on that defense, that would go a long way for Winnipeg.
Yeah, their decor's not bad. The one guy though I would replace is Logan Stanley. Logan Stanley's not good, but other than Morrissey is good, Demelo's good, Sandberg decent, Pionk okay. I like Colin Miller as your third pair, right shot defenseman, but I think you need a left-handed shot on that third pair because Stanley
I
for me
think
is not it.
I think if they could get a left shot to play in the top four, that'd be better to play next to Pionk, and then you put Sandberg on that third pair. I think that'd be the best course of action for Winnipeg.
Will Borgen would have been such a nice fit there. Oh well.
The Kings ransom that they could have got for Borgen after seeing what Dumoulin got.
That's another thing. New Jersey, what are you doing?
Yeah, we didn't even talk about that. I don't understand why New Jersey's buying right now. I just don't understand that at all.
Doesn't make any sense.
No, a team that's in no position at all to
Like
buy.
I get it, like I get it. Sure, like if you want to make the playoffs, fine. And I'm not saying like you even have to sell off, but don't be trading. But there's no reason to buy. Like okay, you might get in, but without Jack Hughes, realistically, where are the Devils going? Nowhere. Maybe they win around if they get lucky, but
I disagree with this entirely that they have to buy that. No, they don't. No, they don't. If a smart team would acknowledge and say, all right, our best player is hurt for the entire, like, he's not coming back for the playoffs at all. There's no world it happens. So it it would make the most sense to say, all right, we had a good year. We'll get in the playoffs, see what we could do, but let's gather draft pick. Let's gather ammo to weaponize in the offseason or use at next year's deadline to get additional help for the team. I just don't see. I don't understand at all why they're buying. Or if they're getting guys with term, that would make sense. But why are you buying guys that are pending UFAs like Dumoulin? To me, that makes zero
yeah,
sense.
it makes no sense.
Who's my pick out of the East? Florida or Tampa right now? Probably Florida though.
Yeah, that's same with me. Florida or Tampa, but if Rantanen goes to Florida, it's Florida.
Yeah, I think The team that represents the East uh in the cup is going to come from the Atlantic side of the bracket. I don't trust any of these Metro teams to go to the finals at all.
No, it's yeah, I agree.
Right now, my cup would probably be Florida, and honestly, it could be a rematch right now for me. It could be a rematch
Yeah, I could.
or LA. I love LA's the way they play a lot, but like you said, they need help up front badly. The West is a lot more difficult to predict. Why would the
The
Devils
Rain
give up making the playoffs? Because again, they're not in a position where they're going to do much if they get in the playoffs.
Rangers just made the trade official.
Oh, there it is. So we'll see if that's the last of the trades outside of small moves. Hopefully, Kreider's move tomorrow, though.
Yeah, I think with all the quotes now, I think it just makes too much sense. I mean, we were talking about it yesterday that it's probably just because of Kreider and his contract that it probably makes more sense to do it in the offseason. But with the quotes coming out today and seemingly that his relationship with Drury is fractured, even though both should be gone and out of here, but that's a different discussion. But I think you got to cash in on Kreider now, and if some team is offering you a really good package right now, I think you just take it.
If they,
Especially if a team is willing to take all that contract on, and you can clear $6.5 million off your cap for the next 2 years. That's huge.
yeah, if they could get, um, if they could get Zacha for Kreider, you gotta do that. I like McLeod more. I know you do, but like realistically, we don't know if Buffalo would take Kreider for McLeod. If we know that Boston would take Zacha or take or trade Zacha for Kreider, then you gotta do it. I mean, even then, I would if the Rangers by some miracle could find a way to land both Zacha and McLeod, that third line all of a sudden would actually be like really, really scary. If you all of a sudden have Zacha, McLeod could move to the wing, and then I don't know who you'd put next to them. I mean, I guess Berard or Othman right now. I would like that third line a lot, though.
Yeah, and the contract's not terrible on Pavel Zacha because he's got 2 more years left at 4.75 million. And right now, like with McLeod, I mean, the reason why I would rather target McLeod is just because he's a little bit younger. He's 2 years younger than him, and I think he's a little bit better than him. But I think in terms of contract wise and what McLeod would sign, because since he's an RFA next year, I probably say he'd sign somewhere around 4.5 to 5 million for like 4 or 5 years. So in terms of money wise, it's about the same. Like I said, I wouldn't mind Zaka. I'd rather McLeod just because 2 years younger, and I think he's a little bit better than him. But if Boston's willing to do Zaka up for Kreider straight like that, then yeah, I don't think you can turn that down.
No, and I think that if they're able to pull that move off without having to give up too much else, like at most give up a mid-round pick, then I think the Rangers could still target a guy like McLeod. Will they? I don't know, but I would love for them to. I don't agree with this. I think based on them being linked to guys like McLeod and Zacha, I don't think they view Parson as the 3C. If they do, I hate telling good people bad news there, but that should not be who you're banking on to be your 3C on a cup winning team. He
Yeah,
could play
because
the wing and you could see you get from him on the wing, but if he's your 3C and you're trying to win a cup, that's not happening.
yeah, because I can't lie. I know Nick was hyped for Parson when they got him, but I know it's only been 3 games. It's a small sample size, but I haven't liked what I've seen from Parson in the 3 games he's played here.
I thought he
Like I
was
said,
okay yesterday, but the other two games, yeah, he was not.
I
He
don't know.
wasn't as
I
noticeable.
just for me, I don't notice him on the ice. For me, But like I said, it's a small sample size, and he's got to get adjusted, I guess, to a new team, new teammates. So I'm willing to give him. I'm not saying trade him. I'm willing to give him to the end of the season to see what he's got. There's another 20 more games left in the regular season, so he could easily find this step in the next game or two.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens with them, but I don't think they view him as the 3 seed at all based on who they're interested in. What's going on, Anthony?
Yeah, what's up, Anthony? I just gotta give credit though because I saw this Shayna Goldman, she posted this quote from Breezeball after because he was talking about the trade, right? And I wish this was the mentality that we had for our GM. But he said the value in having draft picks lies in our ability to convert them into players that can help us win NHL hockey games. We use some draft capital to add two good players that will help us win more games this season and beyond. Ultimately, the calculation is that trying and failing will yield less regret than failing to try.
Well,
Sounds a lot like last trade deadline.
literally, like almost word for word what we were saying at the deadline last year that you got to just push the chips in at that point.
And again, this is from a GM who has already won 2 cups, and he's willing to go again to go get another one. That's the difference.
Boston's taking calls on this from Pagnota that they're taking calls on Carlo and Geeky.
I don't know if they could get returned for Carlo because I like Carlo.
I was gonna say like a package deal of Zacha and Carlo. I mean, all I'm saying,
Because what Carlo's left-handed, right?
he's right-handed.
Oh, he's right-handed. Damn.
I mean, if they want to do that and then move Schneider to get
Yeah,
Byram,
I was about to say they could take Schneider the other way. I'm fine with that.
that or you move Schneider in another deal to get Byram, like I said.
Yeah, 28 years old. I mean, like if they want to, if the quote unquote the plans to do a quick retool, Brendan Carl's 28. I mean, that pretty much fits what you're looking for in terms of a right-handed defenseman. But then
It
also again, but then also again, if you acquire Brendan Carlo because Fox is your first line right-handed defenseman, Carlo would go second, and then again and then like we were saying, Keandre Miller's up for a contract this year. You're gonna give Keandre Miller 6 years, $6.5 million to be your third pair right-handed defenseman. I think at that point Keandre Miller is movable, and I think he does get traded at that point.
if they found a way to turn guys like Kreider, Keandre Miller, and Schneider into Carlo, Zacha, McLeod,
And
and Byram.
I'll
Hey,
give I'll give
Chris
Jury credit.
Drury.
I'll give Jury
If
credit at that point.
if Chris Drury wants his flowers from me, I mean, I'd be very impressed if he found a way to swing that because then their decor all of a sudden they would sign ideally a top left shot defenseman in the offseason. Then the second pair would be Byram and Carlo. The third pair, I'd love for them to keep Jones, but they probably won't keep
Yeah.
Zach Jones. Um, but ideally, if it was Jones and Borgen the third pair, and then like that'd be a sick blue line. Then Zacha and McLeod on the third line together.
Yeah, then that looks a lot better. And I wonder how the I wonder how much cap space they're gonna see. Let me see.
I also do wonder with Boston what they could get for Geeky because I like Geeky also. I wouldn't mind if the Rangers targeted him either. Because he's only making 2 million, but he's an RFA after this year.
Let me see what Brendan Carlos car looking like. Carlo.
It's not as great the past 2 seasons, but 2022-23 looks very good.
Yeah. But again, that's what because I mean, when you look at the card, like the offense is not really there, but it it's not like amazing defensively, but it's solid. And for me, like I've been saying, the Rangers need more. They got to target more guys defensively who are just a little bit more defensive minded because they do have some guys offensively minded. I mean, like if they were to get Byram again, that's another guy like they got to. That's another guy that they would bring in that's more offensively minded. So I think then they would have to target us if they're going to get a second defenseman, a guy who's more defensive, and I think Carlo would be that type of guy.
I think the other thing with Carlo and the reason why the metrics don't look as good is because he's on the first pair right now.
Yeah.
Like if you put him in a role that's more suited for him on that second pair, I think he'd thrive a lot more.
Yeah, and he's making $4.1 million for the next 2 years. I
That's
mean,
what I'm saying. Like
that's
this
good.
would be
That's good value.
that it would be a good ad. I know that I forgot if you said if you don't like this guy or not, but I also wouldn't mind for a defenseman that does have some term on his contract. I wouldn't mind Connor Murphy for the second pair.
I don't mind Connor Murphy. I think he's all right.
I think for the second pair he'd be a good ad.
Yeah, I don't mind Connor Murphy.
But I don't know if they're gonna target him. I still think realistically he's gonna I feel like Edmonton just makes too much sense for Connor Murphy.
Let's see, Buffalo. Let me get the Rangers page up here.
I'm just trying to like run through this right now. Like how it realistically could work if they were to somehow swing all those moves I'm talking about. Which I saw someone comment though too that you're thinking too smartly. Dumb it down on Drury's level. Maybe he'll understand. I know.
Yeah, I know.
I apologize.
We're being too creative.
If they actually found a way to do that though.
No, that would be. I mean, you talk about quick turnaround. I mean, that's you're adding. I mean, you're adding automatically. Your second pair goes from Keandre Miller and Will Borgen to Carlo and Bowen Byram. So you got great offensive side and then a really good solid defensive side, and then you improve your third line by because then at that point, well, you could have. I mean, also depending, like, then like if you could move Cooley down to the third line, and then you have a McLeod, Zacha, Cooley third line.
Yeah, that third line would be that's what I was thinking too. That third line would absolutely just that'd be a dangerous third line. That'd be one of the better ones in the league. And I still think, and maybe I'm wrong, I still just think it makes so much sense for Schneider and Byram to be like a one for one type trade.
Yeah, I could see that. Let's see. How much do you think Byron will get on his next contract? 6.5.
What'd you say?
How much? Because Byram's an RFA next year. How much do you think he's gonna get on his contract? 6.5.
I'd say 5.5 to 6. Just go somewhere in the middle, like
Oh,
5.7, just for argument's sake.
all right.
If Kreider's getting traded, I really hope that happens tomorrow, though. Like, please let
Oh, that'll be
hold out for tomorrow.
content-wise, that would be great. All right, then let's see. Then you move out Kreider.
I'm running through it right now on a Puckpedia GM.
Wait, I'm just looking at more salary-wise. How much? 6.5. I'll give Miller 6.25. And Schneider.
Just looking at the start line, though, if it was Cooley, McLeod, Coyle.
Yeah, definitely.
Question without this year, and you have the players that are there now, and this was
Yes, I mean,
last.
I just did it with the money wise, but the guys they would bring in terms of Carlo, Zacha, McLeod, and Byram, and again, this is with what I think McLeod and Byram are going to make as their RFAs next year. So that would be 19 million and 50,000, and then the money they're moving out in terms of Kreider, Keandre Miller, who I put at 6.25, and then Schneider at 2.2. That's 14,950,000 dollars. So they're only so by making those upgrades, they're only spending another $4.1 million. And they're that much
You,
better of a team.
yeah, you do that, and they still have room to add to the top left shot
Yeah.
D spot, and then ideally you add a top 6 winger in the offseason.
Then they're
And
in a
I'm
much
not
better
sure what you're
spot.
asking here, Anthony, with that one.
What happened?
No, just this comment here. I'm not quite sure what he's asking here.
Question: without this year, and you have the players on the players that
Yeah, I'm not.
Adam. You
I'm having a
you gotta
stroke reading that one.
you gotta reword that, buddy.
I wouldn't hate it depending on the contract he gets this offseason. If they went with the roster that we're talking about, and then he played next to Miller since they did well in Vancouver, I wouldn't hate it. But again, it really depends what he's getting because I don't want to commit too much money on a long term deal to another on a winger like Besser.
Yeah, no, I like Besser. I think he's shown in the past he's capable of having multiple 30-goal seasons, but I like you said, depending on the contract, and I don't know if I want Besser on my first line wing. Like I don't know if that's good enough to win. I think if Besser would move on. See, here's the thing: if Lafreniere had a better season, then I would trust him to go up on the first line. Then there you go, because then you could slide in Besser on your second line. But yeah, Lafreniere's regressed this season, so that's kind of that door out the window. But then also, like we were bringing it up too, with like you make those additions and you're only spending $4.1 million. Then if you could move Panarin off your books, and that's 11. Well, he's making 11.62. I mean, the Rangers, if they play if they play their cards right, and that's a big if, because again, we know who Chris Drury is. We know he's not the smartest GM out there, but if they were to play their cards right and they'd open up the right cap space and they're bringing the right guys, I think next year they could have a really solid team. And not saying that they're going to go out there and be cup favorites, but they could certainly be a team that is dangerous and could make a run.
Yeah,
But it's a big, big if.
that's why it's so annoying though. That's like they could, they have a path in front of them, but it's just like, will they do it?
Yeah.
I would like Ehlers, but I don't know what contract he's getting. That's the problem.
Yeah. See, this is it. I want Alex Tucker, Brady Kachuk, because then if you bring in Brady Kachuk, oof. I mean, now we're talking.
He's all right.
Yeah, he's all right. He's just He only scored in the Four Nations final and was one of the better players, but he's okay.
Nothing special there.
Yeah. Bit overrated.
The fact that somebody said on Twitter that Matthew Kachuk's not a top 10 to 15 player, it's like, please just
Stop talking.
respectfully stop talking, and respectfully just don't even bother watching hockey. Don't even bother, because you clearly don't know what you're talking about.
No. I know. I'm sorry. I know. We're soft tampering. My bad. Just trying to make some content here, guys. Maybe I talk about acquiring Brady Kachuk through Morse code. Maybe Gary Bettman's not smart enough to figure that out.
I don't think Ottawa would do this at all. I stand by it. You got to move. They're gonna have to move left
or
if they're getting
Perot,
Brady Kachuk. Yeah, Laugh or Perot.
and which I'm doing that all day.
Call me crazy. I'm moving both if I have to.
Yeah, I wouldn't be against it. Because Brady, again, like we were saying, and we brought this up before, but like when you look back at both the Eichel, well, when the Rangers were interested in Eichel originally, and even though they weren't in on Kachuk, but both when Eichel and Kachuk were traded, they were both around 25, 24 years old. So not even in their prime yet. And Brady Kachuk is around 25 years old. So again,
Sorry, this comment just made me laugh. With
afraid
the
to
way
ask
that it
a
was phrased.
girl for a twirl.
Not wrong there, though, at all. But yeah, just like after they fumbled not getting either of those guys, it's like if Brady Kachuk's available, I do not care what they give up. There's not a single player on this team or in the farm that I would not. That's untouchable. I would not care.
100%. Because sure, like you could argue that like Gabe Perreault could have a high ceiling, but there is no guarantee that he has the same ceiling as Brady Kachuk. And like I'm saying right now, Brady Kachuk is 25 years old. He's gonna be 26 in September. Like again, he's still a year or two away from his prime. And Gabe Perreault is 19 years old, and Lafreniere is 22. Like yeah, you absolutely make that deal because I mean, listen, Chris Drury's all out here talking about culture changing moves. Yeah, Brady Kachuk is that culture franchise changing move because again, that's a guy you win with in the playoffs.
Yeah, he shined in the Four Nations for a reason.
And sure, look, maybe he won't put up the points. Like maybe you won't see Brady Kachuk put in 100-point season or like a 95-point season, but he's going to consistently give you point per game seasons or anywhere around 85 to 90 points. And sure, like, okay, maybe you won't win the President's Trophy, let's say, because again, maybe you won't get the same amount of wins, but come playoff time, those lack of points in the regular season from like the drop off of where Panarin was, like where he had 120 points last year, you're gonna make that up in terms of grit and grind and and he's gonna put up those points in the playoffs. And ultimately that's what matters.
Yeah. It's not even a debate that you move mountains to get Brady Kachuk if he's available. I again do not care. Trade whoever. Don't care at all. And I am easily moving Lafreniere, especially. Yeah, just like the thought of that too. If the Rangers were able to land, or if it's Eichel, even I wouldn't be opposed. Thank you for the $2, Van. New Jersey needs a center. Anyone you'd go after if you're in New Jersey. If they're not selling, it's going to cost a lot because it's in division. But if Brock Nelson's available, then that's a guy they got to get.
But yeah, no, if Brady going back to that, if Brady Kachuk and Connor McDavid are on the Rangers first line, I'm LeBron or we're
I'm
LeBron, Evan James.
Evan James, and I'm near the pool, smiling through it all. And I know Kaprizov and Kempe have expiring deals, but once I guarantee those guys hit the market, and number two, I I'm trying to. I mean I would say Kachuk's better than Kempe.
Oh yeah, no,
Kaprizov is better, but I wonder about in the playoffs who the better player is.
yeah,
That's
no,
something I will
Kachuk.
say.
Brady Kachuk is better than Adrian Kempe, and that's not a slide at Adrian Kempe because I really like Kempe, but and then yeah, Kaprizov definitely has more overall skill than Kachuk, but I mean, we haven't really seen like Kaprizov high end talent in the playoffs yet, so I'm interested to see how he looks now he plays. But in terms of right now, I would just overall just by seeing how Brady Kachuk played in the Four Nations, the um I'd give him the better odds of it being a better playoff performer than Kirill Kaprizov.
He was sick though in 2021-22. He had 7 goals in their playoff series in 6 games. And I mean, yeah, this is true. Because even for me, I'll put my hand up and say that I wanted Elias Pettersson. I was hence why this was made in the first place. But um, I'll put my hand up and say that Pettersson would not have been the right move at all. He is a guy that does not play that game that you need him to, which he puts up the points in the regular season, but you need the guys that win. I mean, look back on the Rangers teams that would go on deep runs. They never, which it did hurt not having that number one center that put up enough points, but they got deep because they had, those type of guys. Yeah, I was dead wrong about that one because he's not even putting up the points like he said anymore.
See, we often talk about how the Panthers won the cup despite Bobrovsky. One thing to mention is that they almost missed the playoffs in that 20. I mean, yeah, they did, but also like you kind of have to look at context because that team did come off a President's Trophy, and then like we were saying before, Bill Zito made that culture changing move. I mean, they shipped out Huberto and Mackenzie Weegar, brought in Matt Kachuk, and then they also had a coaching change because Andrew Burnett took over from Joel Quenneville earlier on in that year, and they brought in Paul Maurice. They had to learn an entirely new system. Like you were saying, they got off to that rough start, but they figured it out. And once they got on that path, they were unstoppable. Came up short in the cup, and then rebounded the next year and won the cup. So But again, Bill Zito was aggressive and made that right culture changing move, and ultimately that's what put him over the top.
I was scrolling up and reading through the comments, sorry, but yeah, I would. I would. Sorry, I would. And I like those guys, but for Brady Kachuk. Sorry.
Oh, that's sign Besser. First of all, you can't give Besser 8 years because you can only extend
They'd
guys
have
for
to
8 years.
trade for
You have to
his
trade
rights.
for him, but 8 by 8, like if they were to do the 8 by 8 by Besser, nah, nah, that's a bad. I'm sorry, that's a bad contract.
Yeah, no. The Chikrin one isn't
The
bad.
Chikrin one is I like the Chikrin, but the Besser one is no.
The Giants just brought back their Matt Rempe and Tommy DeVito. It's
Tommy
part of why I
Cutler.
was laughing just now because I know John's not going to be happy about that one.
Culture wins.
Tommy Cutlets. Freaking John. Um, should do a 24-hour stream tomorrow. Yeah, and that's sorry. That's we all know that's not realistic, man. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. That's just not.
I mean, we could sit around and chop that up and pretend like that's a realistic conversation, but
I'm not doing a 24-hour stream. I have Gensel PTSD. Sorry, man. Would love to see Tarasenko over try. Yeah, no,
no, we're
no to
past that.
either. Yeah, this is really it.
For charity, I mean that's different for charity.
That's different, but I I would have to get that prepped in advance for a different year at one point. So I'd have to get that prepared if I'm gonna do
Yeah,
that. It's too late for me to set all that up, honestly.
yeah. A lot of white powder would have to be used that stream to keep you awake. And I'm talking about sugar.
Yeah, yeah. We're talking about
What sugar's white? It's a powder.
No,
I
we're
don't
talking.
know what.
I thought you were talking about protein powders.
Oh well, I mean yeah, you could do protein powder too. I- I'm just putting it out there as an idea.
Do I still see them moving Meek in the offseason? I'm 50-50 on that. I don't know. I just don't know if he's gonna waive.
Yeah, that's the ultimate problem. He's got the cards in his hands, and like for me, I would trade him personally. I know he's played a little bit better, but still, I don't think that's the type of guy you win with in the playoffs because sure he's putting up better points now with JT Miller, but again, that's just showing that Mika Zibanejad, the only reason why he's producer right now because he's a product of a guy that they brought in. And again, we saw what happened last year in the playoffs when he came up against Alexander Barkov. He got shut down, and he didn't even look like he was even participating in that series. So yeah, for me, if they could move on from him, absolutely do it. Especially if some team is freaking dumb enough to take on $8.5 million of that contract for the rest of the contract that it's signed for. But yeah, like we were saying, he holds the cards. He has no movement clause. So
Also, how did he look
definitely
yesterday against a better team?
not great, bud.
There's no, this would not happen. Toronto would not move. Nice. No.
No. That blind pass Mika made in game four, don't even. There's a lot of things in that series that don't even freaking bring up.
The Truba.
Truba in game four and game six.
Yeah, the shit with Truba.
Wow, Truba fucking up in the conference final. Who could have saw that coming?
It's been his MO since Winnipeg. Nice for Miller. I don't know which Miller you're talking about, but I'd love Nyes
Keandre
on this
Miller,
team.
yeah. For Keandre Miller, yeah, absolutely. I'll fucking drive Keandre Miller. I'll drive Keandre Miller to Toronto, and then I'll bring back Matthew Nice in that same car.
Yeah, I would do a lot to get Nyes on this team. Key, yeah, I'm trading
Yeah.
Key for Nyes.
Bye bye.
That's not even a debate there. He's having such a good year too. Was he at like 24 goals, 23 goals?
Something like that.
Oh my god, just looking at his chart right now. If anything, he should have more goals than he does. His expected goals right now are through the freaking roof. Damn. And he's also someone that's a member of Mark's Ebola list, which under the radar, but we can't forget that he is.
Mark's Ebola list. Yeah, oof, that the expected numbers are oof. That's insane. Hey man, I mean the man who created the Ebola list scored yesterday, so
Any unexpected names you guys see moving? Good question. Um, it's hard to say because it's like unexpected for a reason, but
yeah.
if I had to try to, I mean, Kreider still would be technically an unexpected move tomorrow, in my opinion. So I'll say Kreider as a name if I'm gonna pick a non-ranger though. Um, I'll say I'll say Ryan O'Reilly as an unexpected non-ranger. I'm not confident, but I'll say Ryan O'Reilly just because I feel like it could happen. There's a chance it could happen. I'm not quite sure who else to pick.
The magnificent Barry Trotz making another trade. How exciting. Because that trade yesterday made
Uh,
no sense.
that trade yesterday told me that Chris Kreider actually maybe could be had for Zacha just 1-for-1.
Yeah, I don't get the point of that trade. Why Barry Trotz made it like, and again Bunting. It's Bunting signed a 3-year deal with Carolina in the 23-24 offseason, got moved at that deadline, and then gets moved at this deadline. Bro could just not stick with one team.
Stamkos back to Tampa. No, I don't. That's not
No.
gonna happen. I'm trying to think of any other like surprise moves that could happen at all. I gotta tell my brother though that Morgan Geeky could be had because my brother I think is gonna cream his pants if I tell him he is a Morgan Geeky Glazer. I'm actually gonna text him right now. Like Morgan
Glazing,
Geeky's
glazing like
available.
glazing like Ray Ferraro.
I'm looking at his chart right now. Yeah, I would take him on this team. Brain Shen would be a surprise move, Nick. That's a good call. Brain
Yeah,
Shen would be a surprise move. That's probably
especially since like St. Louis, I think, because I saw on Twitter earlier, like half an hour ago or an hour ago, that like their last 10 games like 6-2-2. So they've picked it up and they're a point out of the playoff spot right now. Boosh back to the Rangers. Nah, that's we moved past that. We could have had Braden Point and then McDonough and JT. Yeah, I don't think Braden Point was never even a discussion starter. I mean, I remember back to that trade, and people were talking about that maybe the Rangers could get Sergachev, and even then, Sergachev wasn't even discussed. But again, that just shows like Nick brings up all the time, like like with trades in the NHL specifically, like, we think returns are going to be so much valuable, and then it turns out when the actual trade goes down, it's like, no, you get nowhere close to the value that you originally thought you were going to get back.
Yeah, it's
But again, that could also just go to the fact down that Gordon just picked the wrong guys. I mean, that could be the case too.
yeah, it happens all the time though. There are times it's the opposite, like someone commented before Hagel, which that's fair, but I don't know. It's I feel like it's usually the other way around more that guys go for less.
Yes, Michael, my fellow Polish brethren, welcome. Polska Biała Czerwona. It's always good to have a fellow Polak by your side.
Pollock.
Run.
I would do this in a heartbeat, but I don't think LA would do it. Was my surprise Rangers blockbuster tomorrow? If there's, I'm assuming you mean if there's going to be one. Like I said, Kreider being moved.
Kreider and Schneider to Boston for Zacha and Brendan Carlo. One can only hope, though.
Hey, don't get me excited now. Hey,
Mott back to me. The original glazing on this channel.
the the original and forever glazing. He could do no wrong. Everyone on Twitter has that fourth liner they're obsessed with. Well, that's not justified unless it's Tyler Mott
Or Blake Lizotte. Because Blake Lizotte could do no wrong either.
or Eric Robinson.
Yes.
If you want to call him a fourth liner.
Yes. Kreider's getting moved in the summer for a 4th-round pick at Stamkos. That's even what kind of return is that? Fuck, you're getting worse. Fuck that.
Blood didn't do nothing but take a step back.
Literally. That's like taking that's basically the definition of 1 step forward, 5 steps back. I take Panarin for Brendan. I mean, I like Brendan Carlo, but if you're training Panarin, you got to do a lot better than just Brendan Carlo. I mean, yeah, Van Wellen, you are right. That would be a Drury move. So you are correct. If you were doing this from like a Drury simulator, that would be the type of trade that would go down.
Yeah, pretty much. Actually, it's probably the other way around with that though. Or no, you have it the right way. Yeah, we're getting diarrhea for shit.
Let's get Nemeth back. How about no?
Yeah. Blake
Blake
Wheeler.
Blake Wheelchair. Hey man, it's one of Truba's boys right there. That's why we got the news that Truba was involved in who came in that off season. So of course you have to bring along one of his best friends. 2 failed captains. What a shock.
Yeah, they need to get Ryan Reeves back. Just bring back everyone from that off season.
I don't know. I think for me, like Ryan Reeves.
Fuck.
I don't know. I think for me, like Ryan Reeves, Ryan Carpenter, and bring
Oh
back
my,
Sammy Blay.
Ryan Carpenter. Forgot about Ryan Carpenter.
Oh, actually, maybe not Sammy Blay. He's a little too good for that fourth line. Let me bring up Jake Lecision. Perfect fourth line. Or we could bring back Dryden Hunt or Michael Haley, guys like that. Rangers legend Tyler Pitlick back in the NHL. Oh no, it's 4:05. I'm missing the Mits press conference. Did you see the video though in the group chat of the Mets store that's opening up?
Yeah.
That's sick.
Apparently they're having um apparently you have to get like tickets or something to go for the first day.
Well, yeah, it's opening up tomorrow.
Yeah. It's still very random that that's happening, but I mess with it.
My wallet's not gonna like that.
Could finally get a Marte jersey.
I mean, listen, I have been looking all around this so far this offseason to get a Joey Meneses jersey. It's just nobody's had one so far, and I just don't know why.
To answer this though, I do think they should move quick and call Garand up. Get what you can for quick. Justin Braun comeback year.
We should be able to flip Ruido for some high picks. What's your definition there of high picks? So, I don't know about all that. I think maybe a 7th round pick will do, but Anthony, that's an interesting trade, but LA would not do that. Panarin at 50% retained for Fiala and Mike Anderson in a second. That's LA would never agree to that.
I think they'd consider it. I don't think they'd do it, but I think they would consider it.
I don't know.
I agree with this so that Garand is ready. It's getting a little annoying though that they're just not believing in him at all.
Well, doesn't help when you locked up your goalie to fucking 8 years and $11.5 million a year. So he's gonna get traded anyway, regardless. Garon's gonna want to start somewhere. But I guess though, like considering that point, I would still bring him up though and flip Quick, because then again, you get assets for Quick, and then you could show off Garand in some NHL games, and then a team could, offer more than originally they were going to just based off his AHL numbers. But hey, Chris Drury.
I wouldn't even think twice about this one.
I like Mason McTavish as a third line center. Ducks want to move. Do they want to move him though?
I don't know if they're
I
gonna move
mean,
him. I think they gotta stick the course of where they are.
because they're building up a really nice center core. I mean, with Leo Carlson, they got Cutter Gauthier in, even though he hasn't been playing great so far. But I think there's a lot more in him, to struggle in the rookie season. Sometimes it happens, and then Mason McTavish as your third line center. I mean, that's not. I mean, that's not bad at all. I mean, maybe more from McTavish's side, he would want to eventually leave because he maybe want a higher role in terms of being a 2C or a 1C somewhere. But I don't think Anaheim would just be willing to trade him outright unless like you'd be getting like a really good goal scoring winger in return. Because I mean, at that point, I think the guy that they would rather move is Trevor Zegras. As long as he don't come here, I don't care where he goes.
Nick is about to get pissed with what I send in the group chat. Fucking NHL insiders, man.
Good luck defining who's in and who's out of in the evolving possibility. The Hurricanes are working on options. Multiple teams are in the mix. Trade extension is asked. However, though,
Like,
the
what the
wording.
fuck? The fuck do you mean? Good luck defining who's in and who's out. It's your fucking job. Like, what?
The fucking wording. I mean, that kind of segues into. I just saw the comment from Lucas. Do you guys have a least favorite insider? Yeah, probably
Oh,
all of them because they're all.
how do I pick? How do I pick one? Um. Okay, if I had to pick. Okay, are we talking strictly Rangers beat or are we talking league
NHL.
wide? Because that changes the game here. If we're talking league wide, because even with the Rangers beat, how do you pick one? Fuck.
Actually, no. I know my least. It's fucking Pagnotta because the shit he pulled last trade deadline.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's up there. I'm trying to think though of who else. I mean, Chris Johnston these days isn't exactly my favorite. Like, he's always just so late to the news. Like, he'll tweet like 30 minutes after news drops. Yeah, this happened.
So we got Anthony in here. My guess is
Oh, what's going
Rantanen
on?
would extend with Dallas, Florida, Tampa Bay, and Vegas. All good teams and states with knowing. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I could see that. I feel like he wants to be in Florida though. And I think Florida has the best possible I think they have the best assets to get a deal done.
Let's see, Jacob.
I don't know. Darren
Rangers.
Traeger though after today isn't like
He's
after that
moving up.
tweet, I don't
He's
know
moving up
about
the list.
Traeger.
He moved up the list.
We peaked with Bob McKenzie, man.
Bob McKenzie.
I don't know though, Jacob. Like, yeah, like that's the thing. Like, he'll come up with the most asinine ideas, and then you have just like the rest of the crew that literally have no idea what's going on, and they never break news unless they're telling you about the prices of the M&Ms at the concession stands. Like they don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
No, for Larry, it depends on the day. Because there's some days where he's got good days, and then there's some days he's just
He wakes up on the wrong side of the bed, and
like it's like
he
oof,
says shit like Brain Schneider should be on the first pair, and it's like, what are we
like
talking about?
what the fuck did you cook up this morning?
I think Staple's the most consistent.
Yeah. Staple or Colin is the best because he's just cool.
Yeah.
Colin does nothing wrong, so he's automatically up on the list.
Bar talk topic.
Oh, so
Mark Williams will
we're
mess
doing.
up at least 3 names tomorrow.
I mean,
Yeah.
are we doing over and unders? Because I might have to hit the over on that one.
Get the hoop on that one.
I might have to hit the over on that one, Anthony.
Yeah, that's a layup. Hopefully his ankle's okay after his wife broke them yesterday.
Mark's gonna come in with fucking crutches, and then he's gonna have his ankle wrapped up tomorrow with a bag of ice, and then eating his pizza with a fork.
I have to get Chick-fil-A sauce tomorrow on the ready. How about this though? How about tomorrow? I have to, if anyone from Mark's Ebola list gets traded, I have to down a packet of Chick-fil-A sauce.
Yeah, that could work.
I don't know if anyone on his Ebola list is available for trade, but I guess we'll find that out. Although Gibson, I guess.
Yeah, no, yeah,
It,
that works, but it's
all right,
Gibson, so we shouldn't sit here be guaranteeing that kind of deal.
Gibson's on my Ebola list because can he please just get traded?
I think though that we have to come up with an official document, Mark's Ebola list, to make it. Got to make it official.
Hold up, we got big MLB news.
What's the
Tyler
news?
Naquin just signed a minor league deal with the Guardians.
Oh my god, Tyler
As a
Nyquil.
pitcher?
What the fuck?
What?
That's true. Tyler Nyquil back in the league as a pitcher. All right. I mean, sure, I guess.
There is no way. Tyler Naquin as a pitcher. That's random shit.
This was really a big bad F dog move.
What the fuck? As a pitcher.
He's definitely only got one pitch though. He's just throwing standard four seamers. I can't see Tyler Naquin throwing a slider.
Imagine him throwing a sweeper.
Well, I was about to say if he throws a sweeper, then we know Mitz is probably interested.
Yeah, once he develops the arsenal a bit more, he might be a Met again. Yeah, I agree with this. So that staple usually when he leaks something, it happens. He's like the one inside. He's like the one beat writer here that does not spew any bullshit.
Oh my god, bag. Yo, Albert. I don't know. We were fucking turning into a Jadeon video now.
I've never seen the bag in my chat before, but he's commented now twice, and it's both times he's made me fucking laugh here. I, I like this guy. Show up more. Would I attempt to make a deal with Carolina for Rantanen?
No.
No, because I don't think he's gonna get it. I don't think he's gonna sign an extension here.
Let's kidnap Stearns and put him in the rain. No, Stearns could stay where he is right now. He's cooking up too much.
The replies to Ben Verlander's engagement tweet are just killing me right now. Just all
Is
the photoshops with
it? I
Otani.
was about to say. Well, I mean, he did have it coming. Listen, if there's one person who knows glazing, it's Ben Verlander.
Like Meek is the one-time king, he's the Glaze king. This is why people are talking about Reds in with the Rangers because Roger Hicks on Twitter.
Ooh.
Roger Hicks, the great insider here, and by that, if anyone can't tell, them being sarcastic, blood has no sources. Yes, this I agree with Noah.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
you will. I would trade anyone on the roster to get him. He can't do any wrong.
Listen, don't tell anyone that I told you this, but yeah, I have a sneaky feeling he's my under the radar pick next year for to win the Hart Trophy. So if you're looking for any early bets, I'd say put some money down for Eric Robinson for the Hart next year.
You said under the radar pick. I don't know if I would say under the radar when we're talking Eric Robinson.
Well, it's because we know what E-Rob's really about. Other people aren't onto his game yet.
Yeah, we need more people to be.
As much as I love the Yankees, Mets are pretty stacked. I hope we beat the Dodgers too, Raymond.
Do we think the Rangers will make the playoffs? Probably because the East is garbage.
Yeah. Y'all ain't beating no Dodgers. All right, we'll see. We'll see.
Naquin as a pitcher. How old is Tyler Naquin?
It's got to be 33.
This is like them making
Yeah,
a.
he's 33 years old.
Literally, what is the point of this?
He's turning 34 next month.
Like, what is even the point of this? At all. Ridiculous. This is like them trying to turn Anthony Goza into a fucking pitcher too. Mets legend.
Do they sign Perot in April? No. Leave Perot in BC. He's
Yeah,
not.
keep him far away from this
He's
right
he's
now.
he's not ready yet.
Why are the Devils buying? I got no clue. It's not a smart idea. Yeah, this is really what it comes down to. If the Mets are going to beat the Dodgers, the pitching lab has to cook up. But hey, if there's anyone that could do it,
Hey,
if
listen,
there's anyone I trust,
all I'm saying it's Clay Holmes and Max Kranick season, guys. Just watch
he
out.
needs let Kranick start.
Kranick should be starting. I ain't trying to watch McGill or Blackburn in the starting rotation.
Thoughts on the Dumoulin trade? Very dumb for New Jersey. Those are my thoughts.
That's odd. That can't be the case.
What?
No, I'm checking on the MLB app. They sent down Sproul to minor league camp, so why is he pitching today?
That's very weird. Yeah, I don't know what that's about then. I'll be
But
back in a minute.
uh, thoughts on the Dumoulin trade? I think Dumoulin a solid depth defenseman, but in terms of for New Jersey, for me, it made no sense because I think even for me, and we said it before earlier on, like for the Devils' case, they might make the playoffs. I mean, there's also a very good chance they could fall out of it. But you just lost Jack Hughes to shoulder injury. He just got surgery. They put him on LTIR. He ain't gonna be back till next year. I don't see the point on trading for Brian Dumoulin as a depth defenseman. Like, and even if you don't want to, like, as a Devils, you don't want to sell necessarily because like we looked at through the roster yesterday, and there's not really much that you could sell off other than like Jonathan Kovacevic, who I think you could get a solid return for, but other than that, there's not really much to sell off. And like I was saying, like at that point, just stand still and stand your ground. Like you don't have to buy or sell necessarily, and then just rebound next season. And I mean, listen, if they do make the playoffs, cool. Like you try to do something without Jack Hughes, but and especially like if this is the only trade, like if you're just getting Dumoulin, then even then that makes no sense because at least like we mentioned earlier, if you go out and get Brock Nelson, which again, I still don't think they're gonna do anything like if they just add Brock Nelson as well, because I think losing Jack Hughes is just way too big of a loss. I don't know. It was just a weird trade overall for me. And yeah, MW, that could be the case. Fitzgerald could be feeling the pressure to make the playoffs because I mean last season was just an overall disaster, and then this season, they get off to a really good start, and then they've just had this collapse since like late December, early January, and it's like, oof. Uh, Gabe Perreault been good, but he needs one more year in college. Don't matter. He's a Baker winner or a gold medal winner. I mean, yeah, the big thing for me with Gabe Perreault has always just been the skating, because I think when you watch him play, like in the World Juniors and stuff, like the talent is there, and the hockey IQ is there. However, it's like the same thing we've been saying with Adam Fox. The skating is just it's not there currently, and like I'm not gonna lie, like he was good in the World Juniors, but he was kind of also a little bit of a passenger in some of those bigger games. Like especially against Canada for me when they were playing Canada in the round robin, I really didn't notice Gabe Pro a lot for me. And again, comes down to his skating because I think he relies just a little too much on his line mates to open up space for him. And if you want to be a top player in the NHL, you can't really have that. You have to create space for yourself with your good skating ability. And I mean, we know the Rangers don't necessarily develop skating well in the organization. So their only hope is that he picks it up on either on his own or his last year to be, because I would imagine that next year's his final year in BC, because I don't think he'll do 4 years there. I think he'll probably do 3 years and then he'll come to the Rangers. If Clay Holmes cooks, don't worry. Mitz got us. Clay Holmes will be cooking this year. Just look at his sweeper and his changeup. It's
Yeah, I'm
beautiful.
excited for him.
If I'm hate watching anyone on the Mets this year, it's definitely Holmes over Soto.
Franchise legend gone yet? Not yet, Carson. Any rumors on the Caps? So
Um,
far, I haven't heard anything.
Lane Hudson was really good in the World Juniors. Yes, he was. And too bad he's a Washington Capital, along with Ryan Leonard.
I think I'm gonna wrap up the stream here because I gotta get going. But
Well, what Luca was saying, now it's rumored Jones for Mario. If Chris Jory does that deal, don't
that would
don't
be
even get me
stupid.
started. Don't even get me started.
That would just be stupid. All right, I'm gonna wrap up the stream here. So we'll be live tomorrow. If any other trades break tonight of significance, then we'll go live for that, of course. But for right now, we're just gonna end it and then see how things go. And then, like I said, tomorrow, 9 o'clock, we'll be starting. We'll be going live with Big Apple Hockey at 12. So be sure to check us out and subscribe, turn on your notifications. So, yeah, hopefully the trades hold out for tomorrow, though, so we could just get everything tomorrow instead. But knowing how the NHL is, there will probably be another big trade tonight, but we'll see. But thank you everyone for tuning in. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe, turn on your notifications, and we'll see you in the next one.